Hello, welcome to Biology for You. In this video, we are going to discuss the basic idea of the plasmids. In the series of videos, we have been discussing different methods in the genetic engineering. Here, basically, these plasmids are most widely used vectors in the genetic engineering protocols. Basically, in this video, we are going to discuss what exactly are the plasmids and what are the different types of plasmids, how do they replicate, and why these plasmids are most widely used vectors. So, in order to understand all these, let's begin the. So, here these plasmids are basically extrachromosomal DNA. That means these are not main part of the these are not part of the main genomic material. So let us consider this as the bacterial structure, which is having a cell wall. Underneath there is a cell membrane, and attached with the cell membrane there will be main bacterial chromosome or genomic DNA. So apart from this genomic DNA, there will be small circular forms of the DNA found in the cytoplasm. So this DNA, circularized DNA, will be suspended in the cytoplasm freely, and that is called the plasmid. Here this plasmid is basically double-stranded DNA present in the cytoplasm, which is not dependent on the main chromosome, but it is an extra chromosomal DNA, and this is basically covalently closed, circular, mostly present in its supercoiled form. So here what is covalently closed circle? That means we cannot linearize these plasmids because we cannot find any end that is totally circular, and these are very small. The major difference is these are very small. We can compare like this. The size of the plasmid will be some 10 kb to hundreds of kb, but the chromosomal DNA will be in 1000 kbs at least. And these are having their own self-replicating ability. So they will not dependent on the main chromosome or the host for their replication. That means if main chromosome will replicate only once, the bacteria needs to divide. But this extra chromosomal DNA or plasmid can replicate their own and maintain their copy number because of the presence of origin of replication. So due to the presence of origin in them, they can replicate their own, and they have independent existence. They will not dependent on the chromosomal DNA for the existence and maintenance and the segregation into daughter cell. At least one copy of the plasmid will go into the daughter cell when the bacteria decides to divide, and they maintain their copy number. That means generally these plasmids present in more than one copy. Like that, they maintain their copy number, and some plasmids may even present even in more number, that are called relaxed plasmids with high copy number. So these are the basic features of the plasmids, and here these are basically double-stranded DNA, which is covalently closed, circular and supercoiled form. These are very small. They have self-replication, and they have independent existence and high copy number. Coming to the importance of their existence, why we need to have extra chromosomal DNA apart from the main set of genes. So this main chromosome has their own all genes for their housekeeping activities. That means their survival in the normal conditions. But these plasmids have the genes which are selective or essential for the survivability of the bacteria in adverse conditions. Let it be a environmental stress, let it be a antibiotic stress, and in the under heavy competition. In order to survive the bacteria in adverse conditions like this, these plasmids are helpful. So because of the presence of some resistant genes in them, maybe some genes like helpful the bacteria to be survived under environmental stress. So these plasmids are quite helpful. So that is the basic importance of the bacteria. It gives the bacteria to be survived under resistance, under the stress, by giving the resistance towards it, and maybe helpful to survive in the competition. So that is the main importance of the bacterial plasmids and main features of these plasmids. Coming to the different types of the plasmids, there are basically, based on their functions, based on the copy number, we can divide the plasmids. So based on the copy number, we can divide plasmids into two types: relaxed plasmids and stringent plasmids. Basically, these relaxed plasmids are having high copy number. They can replicate into number of copies, but the stringent plasmids have minimal copy number. And what makes the difference? So coming to that point, if the plasmid having their own initiation factor production, so if it code for the initiation proteins or the factors responsible for the replication of the plasmid by their own without depending on the main chromosome, then that could be considered as relaxed plasmid, which can have maintain their own high copy number. If the plasmid don't have ability to produce their replication initiation factors, but it needs to depend on the main chromosome or host bacteria further, then that will be considered as the stringent plasmid. So based on the host range, we can also divide the plasmids into broad host range and narrow host range. So these broad host range plasmids can survive in many species of the bacteria. That means the exchange of these plasmids is possible between the species. So this narrow host range, that means the plasmid will be shared between the same bacteria, same species of the bacteria. So here this narrow host range will cause the bacteria to be vertically transferred, or maybe this broad host range helps the bacteria to gain the resistance in the new species. Like generally it will happen in the hospital conditions where infections are more prevalent. Due to this broad host range plasmids, these resistant genes against these antibiotics will spread between the species, and there is a possibility of production of the more resistant species in the hospitals. So that is the main example of the broad host range bacteria, broad host range plasmids. So they can form new species resistant towards the some different antibiotics. So these antibiotics are will become less functional towards the different species of the bacteria. So that is it. Based on their function, type of the genes they have, that way they will be divided into resistance plasmid. So due to the presence of resistant genes against these antibiotics, the resistance plasmid will form. That means For example, amphiserine resistance, tetracycline resistance. So there are some plasmids which are against amphiserine, there are plasmids against tetracycline, chloromiphenol, and so on and so forth. So the other type of the plasmids are coal plasmids. Basically, these coal plasmids are responsible of the production of the colicins. These colicins are basically bacteriocins. Colicins or the proteins that works against the other bacteria, so they will inhibit the other bacteria surrounding them, so they increase the competitive spirit of the bacteria in which they are present. So these colicins are type of the bacteriocins which can kill bacteria. So the other type of plasmids are degradative plasmids. So basically, these degradative plasmids are responsible for the digestion of the toxins, recalcitrants, which are anthropogenically produced. That means by human activities, the pollutants like toluene, maybe some oil spills that happened on the seas and all. So all these kinds of stuff will be degraded by the bacteria due to the presence of degradative plasmids. So they have the genes for degradation of these toxic substances. So for example, the toll plasmid in Pseudomonas putida, so these are responsible for the toluene degradation. Coming to the other type, there are some plasmids which causes fertility. These are called F plasmids, and the bacteria possessing F plasmid is considered as F prime, and these are responsible for the exchange of this plasmid from one bacteria to the other. So because of this fertility plasmid, the plasmid can transfer itself from the one bacteria to the other by producing proteins like transfer proteins, sex pili, and all. So these are the fertility plasmids. They are helpful, the plasmids, to be exchanged between the bacteria. Coming to the other type of plasmids, virulence. So this virulence plasmids causes infections in the host organism they are going to be inserted. So here these virulence plasmids are basically infectious in nature. So for example, Ti plasmid from the Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So because of the presence of Ti plasmid, these bacteria able to infect the plants and cause tumors in them. So this is the how virulence plasmid is. And there are many other kinds of plasmids as well. There are cryptic plasmids with unknown function. There are metabolic plasmid which can increase the metabolism in the host cell. There are some plasmids which are recombinant, that means they are man-made. By inserting the gene of our interest into the vector, into this plasmid, these will formed. And there are suicidal plasmids with the property of the they cannot maintain their own plasmid. So because of the suicidal nature, if they transferred from one bacteria to the other, eventually they degrade. So that is how, based on the function of the plasmids are divided. So coming to the replication of the plasmid, how do they replicate and maintain their copy number? So here the plasmids are basically have two modes of replication. One is theta mode. One is theta mode of replication and other is rolling circle. Generally, the plasmid replication will be somewhat different from the main bacterial genomic DNA replication. So the origin of replication or origin will be a bit different. So based on this origin triggering only, the replication will happen and the copy number will be maintained. So here for that there are some direct repeats in the origin called iterons. These direct repeats are called iterons. So these iterons will be triggered by the initiation factors to initiate the replication. So the proteins involved in the initiation are mostly rep proteins. The basic or major proteins involved in the replication initiation are rep proteins, and these rep proteins generally coded by the plasmid or maybe by the bacterial chromosome. So if they are encoded by the plasmid, they maintain its copy number high, and also this rep protein production will be controlled so that the copy number will also be regulated. So if this is carried by the mRNA mediation, the regulation of the rep protein will be carried by mRNA mediation, followed by this rep protein is no more available for the triggering iterons and or origin, so that the replication will be stopped. So that is how they maintain their copy number. So these are the main proteins of the replication. Coming to the two modes of replication, one is theta. The theta mode of replication happens like this. So if this is the double stranded plasmid, here if it is a origin, then the hydrolysis will happen. So replication bubble will be formed. That means the hydrogen bonds present between the origin will be broken to form replication origin or maybe bubble. So like this, the DNA will be start synthesizing new strands. So eventually this will be displaced and the theta structure will be formed. So that is called theta replication. So eventually the whole replication will happen and two intercalating two rings will be formed from the same plasmid and both are interconnected. So by forming a nick, they can open and separate into two plasmids. So that is how the theta mode of replication will be happen. So coming to the other mode of replication, that is rolling circle replication. That means here if this is a plasmid, a small nick will be created over here producing 5' and 3' copies, and to the 3' copy the replication, it primes the event of replication. It gradually replaces the one strand will be eventually displaced by the production of its complementary strand. So like this it will happen, replacing the original strand. This original strand will helps us to maintain its complementary strand. So likewise this circular movement will go on and this linearized DNA will again synthesis for its complementary strand. This is called rolling circular model, and the DNA will be copied into number of copies. So that is how rolling circular mode of replication will happen in plasmids. Coming to the last part of the discussion, that is why these plasmids are most widely used as vectors. So due to their feasibility, some features which can be used or manipulated easily. So that is small size. First point we can consider as small size. So due to their small size, we can easily isolate the plasmid, maintain the plasmids without losing or degrading them. So due to their small size and self-replicating ability. So if they are to be used as vectors, first they need to have self-replication so that they can maintain the target gene whenever they copies and amplifies themselves. So with high copy number or high replication, uh, they can amplify the gene of our interest in them. So by that they need to have self-replicating ability. The vector need to have self-replicating ability, and plasmids have that character. So they need to have resistance genes or any selectable marker. So because of this presence of these resistance genes, we can select the vector which carries this target gene. So if the target gene is inserted into the vector and that is transformed into the host cell, then if a culture is if a container having this culture of the host cells, first we need to select which all are of the cells got transformed. So for that we need to go for the selection process. So we only need the host cell in which this recombinant plasmid is present. So in order to select the host cell with recombinant plasmid in its or the transformed cells, we need to select. So due to the presence of selectable markers or resistant genes or any kind of other selectable markers, we can simply select by possessing that character of the resistant genes or selectable marker. So if an amphicerin resistance gene is there, so we can transfer these bacteria into amphicerin resistant antibiotic containing media, so that the cells with this recombinant vector only can survive and all non-transformed cells will be eventually die because of the presence of amphicerin in media. So the recombinant cells which have the amphicerin resistant gene only can survive, and that are thereby we can select this gene. So that is the beauty of the selectable markers. And coming to the other point, MCS or multi-cloning site or polylinker. Generally these plasmids have, in order to consider them as vectors, these plasmids have restriction enzyme sites. That means these sites are recognized by the restriction enzymes, and followed by we can cut based on that. So if plasmids have these restriction enzyme sites, we can cut the plasmids and insert the target DNA into them. So because of the presence of different and high number of restriction sites, we can cut the plasmid DNA using all these different restriction enzymes. So generally artificially these plasmids can made into having many number of restriction sites than the natural system, then they occur in the natural system. That means this multiple cloning site or polylinker is having the number of restrictions and enzyme sites in a single or very small portion of the DNA. So we can insert these MCS artificially or maybe naturally, these plasmid possessing restriction enzyme sites, and followed by these plasmids are actually made up of mostly non-essential genes. That means the most of the portion of the plasmid can be easily replaced. So without this non-essential portion which is naturally existed in the plasmid, which can be replaced without the disturbance of its survivability. So these are the basic things that made the plasmids used as mostly widely used vectors. So